When people talk about growth, they make it sound exciting, like it's all about glowing up, achieving success, and becoming unstoppable. But no one really talks about the quiet, lonely part of growth, the part that feels heavy, the part that makes you question yourself, the part that happens when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, and when you start to wonder if it's even worth it. Because here's the truth. Growth isn't loud. It isn't glamorous. It's silent. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's you, sitting with your thoughts late at night, wondering why you feel so far away from the life you want. It's you, making tiny choices that no one else notices, but that completely change who you are becoming. And if you're in that stage right now, where everything feels uncertain, where you feel like you're losing parts of yourself, and maybe even losing people along the way, I want you to know that you're not alone. What you're feeling is normal. It's proof that you're moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. In this video, we're going to talk about the 7 silent battles you'll face when you start growing, the ones no one really warns you about, the ones that will test your patience, your courage, and your heart, but will also shape you into the person you're meant to be. Let's start. The first battle you'll face is leaving your old self behind, and this is where most people get stuck. We love the idea of becoming someone new, but we forget that it means letting go of who we used to be, and that's not easy. It's not just about dropping bad habits. It's about saying goodbye to a whole version of yourself that you lived in for years, the one that felt familiar, the one that was safe, even if it wasn't happy. There will be days when you miss that old version of you because they were comfortable. They didn't ask for much. They didn't risk much. They stayed small, but small felt predictable. And there's a strange grief that comes with growth. You'll look back and think, wow, I really used to be that person. And part of you might wish you could go back, because change feels scary and unfamiliar. You'll catch yourself wanting to slip back into old habits because they feel easier. You'll want to text that person you know you've outgrown. You'll want to numb yourself with the same distractions you said you'd stop. And that's the silent battle. To choose who you're becoming over who you used to be, again and again, even when no one is watching. Leaving your old self behind also means leaving behind the old stories you used to tell yourself. The excuses, the doubts, the limits you thought were true. It's rewriting your whole identity, and that can be terrifying, because your brain will try to hold on to what feels familiar. But this is where you remind yourself why you started. This is where you say, I love who I was, but I love who I'm becoming more. It's not a single moment. It's a daily choice. 1,000 tiny decisions to no longer be the person who settles, the person who avoids, the person who hides. Every time you choose differently, you take a small step toward the life you really want. And one day you wake up and realize you don't even recognize that old version of yourself anymore. And that is one of the most powerful feelings in the world. The second battle is outgrowing relationships. And honestly, this one hurts more than most people will ever admit. No one really prepares you for the quiet heartbreak of realizing that some people aren't meant to walk with you into your next chapter. It doesn't always happen with a big fight or a dramatic ending. Sometimes, it's just small moments that build up. A conversation that feels a little off, a silence that feels a little heavier, a laugh that doesn't land the way it used to. You start to notice the gap between who you're becoming and who they still are. The things you used to bond over no longer excite you. The dreams you used to share no longer match. You're thinking about growth, about purpose, about building a better future. And they might still be thinking about the same old weekend plans, the same old gossip, the same old drama. And here's the hardest part. You still love them. You still care. You still have memories together that mean the world to you. But love alone isn't enough to keep you aligned. Growth has a way of pulling you toward people, places, and habits that serve your future, and gently pulling you away from the ones that don't. And that pulling can feel like losing a piece of yourself. You'll feel guilty for outgrowing them. You'll wonder if you're being selfish. You'll question if you should slow down just to keep them comfortable. But deep down, you know you can't. You can't shrink yourself to stay where you don't belong anymore. If you do, you'll resent yourself. And eventually, you'll resent them too. Sometimes outgrowing people means saying goodbye. Other times, it just means creating a little more space, less texting, less explaining yourself, less trying to fit into a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. And that space hurts at first, but it's necessary, because that space is where the right people eventually walk in. When you let go of the people who no longer align with you, you make room for the ones who do, the ones who get you, the ones who celebrate your growth instead of questioning it, the ones who challenge you to keep going, even when it's hard. And when those people find you, and they will, you'll realize why you had to let go of the ones who couldn't come with you. The third battle is dealing with silent judgment. And this one can cut deep, because it often comes from the people you thought would be happy for you. When you start growing, you start changing. You speak differently, you carry yourself differently, you make different choices, and people notice. They might not say it out loud, but you can feel it. The side eyes, the awkward silences, the subtle comments like, "You've changed." At first, you might laugh it off, but eventually it starts to sting. Because yes, you have changed. And isn't that the point? Isn't that what life is about? Becoming better? But not everyone sees it that way. Some people feel threatened by your growth because it reminds them of their own stagnation. When you start doing the things they said couldn't be done, it forces them to look at their own excuses, and that's uncomfortable. You might feel the weight of their unspoken criticism. They won't always say it directly, but it's there. In the way they stop inviting you, in the way they make little jokes about you being too serious now, in the way they seem distant when you share your wins. And the silent judgment can be worse than open criticism because there's nothing to respond to, nothing to defend yourself against. It's just a feeling you carry, like a heaviness in the room. And here's the truth. It can make you question yourself. You might wonder if you're really doing the right thing. You might feel tempted to downplay your progress just so others feel comfortable. You might want to shrink yourself so you don't stand out too much. But this is the battle. To keep growing even when it makes other people uncomfortable. You have to remind yourself that their opinion isn't your responsibility. Their discomfort isn't a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're moving. You can love people and still outgrow their approval. You can respect them and still choose yourself. And here's what often happens over time. Some of those silent critics will come back. They'll quietly watch you stay consistent. They'll see your growth turn into results. And one day, they might even say, "I'm proud of you," or "You inspired me." But even if they never do, that's okay. Because you didn't do this for them. You did this for you. Dealing with silent judgment teaches you one of the most powerful lessons of growth, that you don't need validation to keep going. You just need to trust your own path, even when no one else understands it. The fourth battle is facing your own doubts, and this one is often the quietest, but also the most relentless. It doesn't happen outside of you. It happens in your own mind, when no one is around to encourage you. It's just you and that small voice that keeps asking, "Who do you think you are?" You'll start your growth journey with excitement, but soon enough, doubt will creep in. You'll wonder if you're even capable of doing the things you said you would do. You'll compare yourself to people who seem miles ahead of you and think you're too far behind. You'll feel like an imposter in the new life you're trying to build, like you're just pretending to be someone who has it together. And the hard part is, no one else can fight this battle for you. People can encourage you, yes. They can cheer you on. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to sit with your own thoughts and decide to keep believing in yourself. You are the one who has to wake up and say, "I'm still going, even if I feel unqualified. I'm still going, even if no one claps. I'm still going, even if I'm scared." This battle will tempt you to stop before you see progress. It will whisper, "What if you fail?" And the truth is, sometimes you will fail. But growth is not about never falling. It's about getting back up and proving to yourself that you can keep going even when it's hard. When you face your doubts, you start to build a new voice inside you. A stronger one. The voice that says, "Yes, I can do this. I belong here. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning." And that voice doesn't appear overnight. You have to nurture it. You have to talk to yourself differently. You have to choose faith over fear, even when fear feels louder. One of the most powerful moments in your journey is when you realize that you can be scared and still move forward. That you can be uncertain and still take the next step. That you don't have to wait until you feel completely ready. Because if you do, you might never start. Facing your doubts is not a one-time battle. It's ongoing. But each time you choose to move through them, they lose a little bit of their power. And little by little, you become someone who trusts yourself. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've seen yourself survive the storm inside your own mind. The fifth battle is learning to be disciplined alone. And this is where many people quietly give up. At the start of your growth journey, it's easy to feel motivated. Everything feels exciting and new. But eventually, that initial energy fades, and you're left with something much harder than motivation. Discipline. Discipline is doing the work when no one is watching. It's showing up when no one is clapping for you. It's waking up early, putting in the effort, and staying consistent, even on the days you feel invisible. And it can feel incredibly lonely, because there's no instant reward. No one is standing over your shoulder telling you you're doing a good job. It's just you. You against your old habits. You against your excuses. And that's why this battle is so hard. Because discipline doesn't feel exciting. It feels boring. It feels quiet. It feels like taking one small step at a time when you wish you could just sprint to the finish line. And sometimes, you'll feel like it's not even working. You'll wonder if anyone notices. You'll wonder if you're wasting your time. But here's what you have to understand. This is the part of growth that builds you from the inside out. Discipline teaches you something motivation never can: self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you start believing in yourself a little more. Every time you push through the urge to quit, you teach yourself that you are dependable. And eventually, the discipline that feels like a burden starts to feel like freedom. Because you're no longer a prisoner to your moods. You're no longer waiting for the perfect day, or the perfect amount of motivation, or someone else to tell you to keep going. You just go. This battle will test your patience. It will test your commitment. But if you stay the course, you will become someone who doesn't just dream about change. You actually create it. And that's where the real transformation begins. The sixth battle is sitting with loneliness. And this one can feel like the hardest of them all. Growth often puts you in a place where you are no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you want to be. You're stuck in this in-between space that feels strange and uncomfortable. It's like standing in a doorway, one foot in the past and one foot in the future, unsure of where you belong. You might look around and realize that the people you used to spend your time with aren't there anymore. Maybe you distanced yourself from them. Maybe they distanced themselves from you. Either way, the silence feels loud. You might scroll through your phone, tempted to text someone just to fill the emptiness. You might even think about going back to old habits just so you don't feel so alone. But this is the part no one talks about. Loneliness isn't a punishment. It's a process. It's what happens when you're clearing out space in your life. Space for new habits, new relationships, new opportunities. It feels empty at first, but it's not truly empty. It's being prepared for something new. And in this space, you start to meet yourself. Without all the noise, without the constant distractions, you begin to see who you really are. You discover what you like, what you believe, what you want. You learn to sit with your thoughts instead of running from them. You realize that your own company isn't something to fear, it's something to cherish. This stage can feel unbearably quiet, but it's where some of the deepest growth happens. When you learn to be okay on your own, you stop chasing validation from the wrong places. You stop accepting relationships just because you're scared of being by yourself. You raise your standards, not out of pride, but because you know what peace feels like now, and you won't trade it for chaos. And one day, the loneliness turns into solitude. Solitude is different. It's peaceful, grounding, and full of clarity. It's where you recharge. It's where you plan. It's where you remember why you started this journey in the first place. So if you're in this stage right now and it feels unbearable, don't rush out of it. Stay here long enough to let it shape you. Because when you can stand in the silence and still feel whole, you become unstoppable. The seventh battle is keeping the faith when results are invisible. And this is where your patience and resilience will be tested the most. You've been putting in the work. You've been breaking old habits, showing up every day, doing everything right. But nothing seems to be happening. No big changes, no applause, no breakthrough moment. And it's in this silence that many people quit. Not because they can't do it, but because they can't see it working. This stage feels like planting seeds in the ground and coming back every day to stare at the soil, wondering if anything is growing. You water it, you take care of it, you keep showing up, but all you see is dirt. It's discouraging. It makes you wonder if all your effort is a waste of time. You might even start thinking about giving up, because quitting feels easier than waiting. But this is where real growth is happening, even if you can't see it yet. The roots are growing first, deep down, in the dark, where no one can see them. And that's exactly what's happening with you. You are building the inner strength, the habits, the mindset that will hold up the life you're creating. If it happened too fast, it wouldn't last. This stage teaches you faith. Faith that the work you're doing matters. Faith that every small choice is adding up. Faith that just because no one is clapping doesn't mean no progress is being made. This is where you learn to stop needing immediate results to validate your effort. This is where you become someone who works from belief, not from proof. And here's the truth. Breakthroughs often happen quietly. You wake up one day and suddenly notice that you react differently, that you think differently, that you feel lighter. Or one day, an opportunity shows up that you realize you wouldn't have been ready for 6 months ago. And you see it. All that unseen work has been shaping you for this very moment. Keeping the faith when nothing is visible is what separates those who stay the same from those who truly transform. If you can hold on, if you can keep watering the seeds you've planted, eventually you will see what you've been building all along. So if you're here right now, in the thick of these battles, I want you to stop for a moment and breathe. Really breathe. Because the fact that you're even here means you've already taken the hardest step. You chose to grow. You chose to break patterns that maybe no one in your family ever broke. You chose to leave behind habits and comfort zones that felt safe but were holding you back. That is no small thing. Yes, it hurts. It hurts to shed your old skin and step into a version of yourself you don't fully recognize yet. It hurts to let go of people you love, even when you know it's what's best for you. It hurts to hear the judgment, to face the doubts that keep you awake at night, to push yourself on days when you have no energy left. And yes, it hurts to feel alone, to keep showing up without knowing when the results will come. But this pain is not pointless. It is shaping you. Every battle you fight is a brick being laid in the foundation of your future. Every lonely night, every tear, every moment you push through when no one is watching, they are all proof that you are becoming stronger than you have ever been. One day, you'll look back on this season and smile. You'll realize this was the time you learned how to stand on your own 2 feet. This was the time you stopped waiting for permission and started choosing yourself. This was the time you built the kind of discipline and faith that no one can take from you. And when that day comes, you won't just be proud of who you became. You'll be proud of how you became them. You'll be proud that you didn't give up in the quiet, that you didn't settle for a life that didn't fit you anymore. You'll be proud that you kept going, even when no one understood why. So if you are in the middle of this process, hold on. This silence you're in is not empty. It's full of growth. This season of waiting is not wasted. It's preparing you. And every single step you take, no matter how small, is getting you closer to the life you've been dreaming of. Growth may be lonely, but it's also the most sacred journey you will ever take. Because at the end of it, you don't just get a better life, you get yourself back. Your real self. The one who was always there waiting for you to be brave enough to fight for them. So keep going. Keep choosing you. If this video spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need the reminder today. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep walking your path. Thanks for watching.